Hey cats, it's your midsole man EDDBUD here. An initial review on a New Balance shoe. This is one I picked up from sportshoes.com recently in the Black Friday sales. It's the SC Elite version 5. How did these shape up over my 18 miles of initial testing? Let's find out. Stats wise, I've got 246 grams or 8.7 ounces for my UK 11 or US 11.5. The foam that we have here is the Fuelcell variety. I believe it to be a Pebax based formula. I'm measuring about Shore A 18, which is actually very, very soft. Not quite as soft on the durometer scale as the foam in the Endorphin Elite Volume 2 from Saucony. In my UK 11, I'm measuring 42mm of stack in the heel and 34mm up front, making for an 8mm drop. Width-wise, I've got about 11.5 centimeters at the widest point in the forefoot and about 7.8 in the heel, which is a little bit narrower than some of the other super shoes out there. More in line with something like the Adios Pro 4 from Adidas. Upper-wise, I would suggest going true to size with this shoe if you have a narrow foot. Otherwise, you might want to consider going up a half size from your normal running shoe size. The 11 in the UK here is perfect for me. Not too baggy in the upper. I haven't got loads of excess material either side, which I have had in New Balance shoes in the past. The material around the upper is nicely fitting. It's not too overly structured, whilst not being as thin as the material that you'll get on the Fast R Nitro Elite 3 from Puma or the Adios Pro 4. There's a decent amount of structure to the upper. The tongue length is top notch. There's a little bit of extra padding at the business end here where you tie your shoes. Perhaps if you're using a runner's knot, that will be music to your ears. Very good implementation actually of the tongue. It's a nice soft felt material. New Balance got it spot on there. There is some elasticated gusseting around either side of the tongue, and that prevented any tongue slide. The first run I had in these shoes was a faster 5k at the Clevedon Park Run, and then on the next day a very steady sort of to easy paced long run of around 14 miles. I would suggest the laces are a touch long. I had to end up looping them underneath themselves to keep the excess lace out the way. They do have a nice little bit of flex to them without being sort of overly elasticated. The upper is comfortable to me without being too race-like. Sometimes the uppers on these super shoes can be a little bit too minimal perhaps, not overly constrictive in the toe box. No heel slip to mention here. I would like to talk about the heel a little bit actually. There's some nice padding around the Achilles. It does raise up quite a distance actually, but I didn't find it interfered with my Achilles. Certainly one of the more comfortable running shoes that I've tried out the box in recent times. It's great to not have to cinch the laces in too much as well. I've had to do that on New Balance shoes in the past. I haven't had to do it here in the SC Elite version 5. This is certainly a narrower fit than I recall in other New Balance shoes, so do be aware of that if you're perhaps thinking about picking up a pair. There are some thinner New Balance overlays that have been pressed onto either side of the shoe here. Again, I think they're really there to just provide a bit of structure to the upper. So no major issues here, though these days with super shoes, a lot of people expect super thin upper materials, like mega light options, and that isn't really what we've got here. So don't come into this shoe thinking that that's what you're going to get. If you want that, go with the Metaspeed Ray or the Fast R3. Perhaps an upper that's really designed for the masses rather than just the few. A 2.8 out of 3, a more trainer-like upper than some might expect from a 260 quid race shoe. Midsole. Midsole.
Midsole now.
So the midsole here is a Peba blend. It's not too soft, not too dense. There's good pop at pace. Absolutely though a shoe for heel strikers here. This shoe wants you to really use the full footbed. It felt so much better when you engage the rocker, and it's more of a Metaspeed Edge or Vaporfly 3 type vibe about this one rather than the Metaspeed Sky or perhaps the Vaporfly 4. The shoe worked well across some easier paces for me, around about 8:15 per mile. Certainly feels a comfortable, smooth ride for those marathon endurance-like efforts. It didn't really work that well for me me though at 5k pace, it did feel that the shoe was wanting me to run in a way that wasn't really working for me. A little bit like the Metaspeed Edge Paris last time out. Didn't feel quite as smooth as I wanted it to be at those faster speeds. I always felt like the Adios Pro 4 from Adidas was a really versatile shoe. You could run however you wanted to in that one. So less exciting of a ride than something like the Deviate Nitro Elite 3 from Puma. I did have to sort of resort back to a half marathon effort almost when doing that 5k because the shoe felt a little bit jarring against how I wanted to run. Add wind and some very cold temperatures, and yeah, I was just happy to stay at half marathon effort. Certainly a shoe for those who increase their cadence rather than their stride length. So as you get faster, if you're putting more steps in, I think the New Balance SC Elite V5 will work better for you. If you're a stride runner, perhaps not so much. So I don't really see this one dethroning the Metaspeed Sky Paris for me as the GOAT recent race shoe. That was a real standout one. But for many folks, I think you'll really enjoy that nice smooth ride you've got here, and the shoe's certainly light underfoot. The carbon plate position, perhaps in the Peba foam, just seem a little bit 2021 rather than 2025. I'll give it a 2.4 out of 3 for the midsole so far. Outsole wise, the traction is fantastic, superb in fact, along with the upper, perhaps one of the best parts of the shoe really. Very assured on wet ground, felt great on road and pavements, and good on gravel. No issues on ice either. Really like the extra rubber depth on the rear section of the shoe, and I think they've included that really because I think heel strikers will benefit from this shoe a little bit more than others. Excellent from a grip perspective. It really does cover the exposed midsole here in the mid to forefoot. There's a little bit of exposed midsole here. I'm not sure they can really remove any more of the foam. You've got that energy arc here, a little cutaway exposing that carbon plate. Very strong showing on the outsole here. It's right up there for me with Puma Grip or perhaps the Adidas Light Traction. Hopefully it will stay that way in terms of long-term durability. I mean, you could even argue there's too much rubber here in the heel. It is quite thick. On a lot of the other race shoe contenders, they've minimized the amount of rubber, or at least the thickness of that rubber, and it's one of those small details that those shoes have to really separate them from the rest of the pack. I'll give it a 2.8 out of 3 for the outsole so far. Value wise, I can't really say this one's worth $260 at retail. You know, is it the Trump tariffs making this one more expensive? Is it just that New Balance sort of premium price? I don't know. They seem to be able to sell the daily shoes at a more realistic price, but $260 is too much for this one. I paid about $155, I think, which is not too bad. It makes me feel a little bit better about picking it up. When you consider like the Fast R3 is right around $260 or $265, everybody wants that shoe. And the tried and tested Alphafly 3 is up there as well. And that's got a similar weight to this shoe, but is slightly more assistive underfoot. I mean, the Adios Pro 4 looks like an amazing pickup against this one at retail. There's some amazing discounts on the Pro 4 as well right now. It just seems like a better idea to try and get this on discount. I think they'd reduced it to like $208 from the original retail price, and then I got a further 25% off at sportshoes.com. You know, at $155 at that lower price, I was happy to pay. I just feel that there are other more versatile race shoes out there that don't really control how you need to run in them. The Adios Pro 4 just felt great across all the common race distances for me. Though I have to say the quality of the shoe is right up there. No dodgy glue marks. Everything's really well aligned. Hopefully the outsole will provide the icing on the cake in terms of value. And it's a shoe I just wouldn't mind wearing around the house. Yeah, I think it looks great. Really nice clean lines on this one. 2.2 out of 3 for value on this one. It's just not the most versatile and it's too expensive. If I've totaled the scores up correctly, that gives us a 10.2 out of 12 after my initial runs for the New Balance Fuelcell SC Elite version 5. So I think this one will work for people around that marathon or perhaps half marathon pace, though it likes a very specific foot strike to get the best out of it. And the foam, Peba's just starting to feel a little bit outdated these days. What do you make of this one, people? Is it a shoe you've picked up and enjoyed? Did you get it and feel a little bit underwhelmed? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. musical interlude. I'm full in Christmas mode, so it's got to be Shakin' Stevens with Rockin' Little Christmas. There's some absolutely superb guitar playing on this one. Certainly a bit of a departure from his other big Christmas hit, Merry Christmas Everybody. Rockin' Little Christmas has got a bit more, you know, up for it vibe about it. Propulsive guitar playing, some slamming drums, and some, let's be honest, quite throwaway lyrics. But hey, you know, it's a Christmas tune. It does feel like one, though, that the players put a little bit of effort into it and they seem to be enjoying making the track. And there's a few Christmas tunes of recent time where it just feels like people are going through the motions a bit. But certainly Shaky wasn't doing that here. Rockin' Little Christmas by Shakin' Stevens. Thanks for tuning in, people. Hope you enjoyed today's review. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, like, and drop us a comment for the algorithm. Thanks for making November one of the best ever on the channel. There's been so many views. The video's been doing really well, so hope you've been enjoying them as much as I've been enjoying making them for you. My name's Ed Bud, and I'll be seeing you